Welcome to Media Mondays. I'm El Michelle. How's everybody doing out there? I'm so excited to be able to come back again on a Media Monday and share just new information and share things about media and just kind of talk with you. I love that everybody is continuing to just do all these live shows now, and every live show has their own flavor or whatever. And on Media Mondays, we like to do just that. We like to talk about media and new media specifically. And so today I'm excited because the rest of, the rest of this month, we'll be talking about various issues because there's a lot of things that are happening out there in our world, of course, where our voices are needed. And I wanted to just talk about some new ways to share our voice across new platforms. And so I thought this would be a great month to really kind of talk about immersive media. We see a lot of media out there digitally on websites. We see a lot of media out there socially via all the social networks. That's pretty much how we all stay informed these days. But what are you seeing out there when it comes to immersive media, or are we even aware of what that means? And I feel like in times like this, immersive media is really important because it gives us the opportunity to build brand new worlds. And I think in times like these, it's refreshing to have new world views and to begin to build new things to truly change the narrative. Okay, so today is a good day. Today we have one of my friends on who we've been in immersive media. Just don't mind me while I share this feed. So if you're out there, if you would, please share this feed. I'm gonna share it on my personal page. We're also live on YouTube. So hey to everybody on YouTube and on Facebook Live. So thanks for joining us. So my friend DJ Soto is here to talk about immersive media, specifically as it relates to church. We do a lot of media ministry. You might have seen some of the behind the scenes that we did over the weekend, showing some local pastors in the Tallahassee area just kind of uniting to show equality. And so DJ and myself have been in the immersive media space dealing with faith and virtual reality. In fact, he is the founder of VR Church, the very first church ever in virtual reality. And he is our guest today. I'm just going to go ahead and add him. Look at him.
Hey, how's it going?
Do y'all see this? This is my very first interview with an avatar.
Hey, what's up?
I'm so excited to have you join us, DJ. That was a cool intro. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. Good to see you. How are things going down in Florida?
Oh man, things are going as well as expected here. DJ, there's just been a lot of issues that we have to be vocal about in these times, especially the murder of George Floyd and just so many other injustices that are happening. And so we're kind of balancing that and trying to move forward. So that's kind of where we are down here. How about where you are? You're in a virtual world right now, but physically, where are you?
Physically, I'm in Virginia, state of Virginia, Fredericksburg. It's a couple hours south, depending on traffic from Washington, D.C. And yeah, that's where I'm at. And, it's a strange time. Usually you think of things happening regionally, like, here's this, issue happening over here. But man, with the pandemic and with the racial strife, I think it's a strange time when we're all facing some serious issues that we're dealing with. And so it's not unique to a ministry in California. This is like global. This is international. This is, across the United States. And so, things are well here as can be expected in the midst of all this turmoil. But thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you joined us. The comments are already coming in for some of my friends. What's up? T. Connor says she loves this. She's my friend who's been in radio for many years, just blessing many lives through Christian radio. Hello to my friend Adria as well, who is out there. DJ, this is my absolute first time interviewing an avatar.
Yeah.
I mean, look at you. Can you tell us a little bit about where you are? Can you go back to that? That's pretty cool. Tell us a little bit about this space, this immersive media space.
Yeah, like you were saying, I'm the lead pastor of Virtual Reality Church, and we are a church that exists entirely in virtual reality. We call it the metaverse, and that's a whole term that we can get into maybe later. But what's interesting is pre-COVID, we were pretty much disregarded. You know, we definitely have supporters and encouragers, but for the most part, it's been a really tough conversation to have with churches, church planning organizations, when it comes to just having fundamental conversations or funding and all those things. Like when you're interacting with them, they just don't get the concept of what VR could be, what it is, and we're quickly disregarded. Now, that all changed on a dime. It was amazing to watch. In this COVID era, the tune has changed. Even our most vocal critics have gone silent, because when all the churches were closing their doors, ours remained open. It wasn't affected, except for the fact that we saw a lot of people come to VR church, because it was great. Many churches were going online, they're broadcasting, and that's cool, but many are not. They're just like, well, we'll see you when the pandemic is over. And so a lot of those people came to church. Like one lady from the UK was like, my church closed down. I was going to miss Easter, but here I am. And she was really blessed to be a part of the service. So virtual reality is a new technology. Just when you think you've seen it all, right? You're like, I've seen it all. A new technology comes around the corner. And this is a significant one. We're just in the beginning of it. If you think of like, you know, the Gutenberg press or the first Model T car, or the birth of the internet, we are in this new computing paradigm of virtual reality and augmented reality, and it is significant. And I can't even imagine what it's going to be in 5 to 10 years, because even now it's very compelling. And so I know people get the concept of VR, but you know, you put on this headset and you're in this 360 immersive space. Like, you know, here I am right now. I have my goggles on, so to speak. I have hand trackers, so my hand is raising up in the physical world is mirroring my avatar. And so this is an interesting thing, you know. I turn my head left and right, and even now though, like looking around the studio, I feel like I'm here. I feel like I'm in this environment. I can, you know, see the hardwood floor over here, and oh, there's a screen over there on that end. And so what VR allows us to do is experience new immersive ways. A new reality is coming over your eyes, and we've never seen that before in history. We've had tastes of it with, you know, media and movies, television, iPhones, you know, immersive rides, maybe at, you know, Disney World. But this is the first time we're seeing something like this, and it's an interesting technology. We're just getting started. Billions of dollars are being spent by Apple, Google, all the big ones, Facebook, billions of dollars. And we haven't seen that full like fruition or that full product of what they're trying to do. It's just getting going. So I think that in this COVID era, it's interesting to see how VR is becoming more adopted. Pre-COVID, like I said, it was like, you know, it's nice, it's a gimmick, you know, I'm sure that's fun. But in this era, now people are viewing it as critical to the future. And we knew as enthusiasts, like as virtual reality promoters, we knew that would happen. We'd probably take 3, 5, 10 years. I don't know, it would happen soon. But it was amazing to watch how it turned on a dime. And not just the technology of it, the theology of it. You know, we're just talking about ministry, where pre-COVID, you know, oh, you can't have church online, you can't have relationships online. That doesn't exist. And then I noticed even like some churches that don't do online stuff that would certainly not say you could have church online. Now they're saying, hey, come to church online, right? And so in the 2-week period, theology changed. The experience changed the theology. You think it'd be the other way around. But anyways, you know, those are some thoughts to share for you.
We had a comment from my friend Teresa, who says, thanks for sharing real hope on the platform, that she believes you'll be able to reach even more people who wouldn't be interested otherwise in going to church. And can you speak to that, DJ? Tell us a little bit about VR Church, how you got started and where you are now with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to touch on that question, so I don't forget about it, is, you know, it's such a beautiful ministry to that regard. where people who physically can't attend a church are able to now be a part of a spiritual community. And I had someone like a pastor, he's a great guy, but he was kind of like, well, why wouldn't people be able to get to church? Well, man, there's a ton of reasons. Some of our leaders, they're physically unable to leave the home. So severe social anxiety. I mean, I have stories um, every week, every day, even it seems like, and where people are commenting on that. Just yesterday, now that we're talking about this topic, this kid was like, I just have a hard time in church physically, and there was something about the stimulus. There was a condition there. He says, I feel comfortable in VR church. I stay in the back. I can create space if I want to. You're not funneled into a pew and you have to sit down. And so for many people, and VR church is open to anyone, whether you have a condition or not, or you're going through something. That's just kind of like everyone's invited. But it's such a beautiful ministry for those that physically, emotionally, mentally are not able to be part of a physical community. And so some critics would say, well, they could watch a church online, but that's kind of a passive experience for them. And many of these people have spiritual gifts that God's given them, and they're just kind of sitting with it at home. But VR allows them to use those gifts. So many of our leaders are unable to physically attend church, but now they are not just attending, but they're participating, they're leading, they're teaching, they're part of the prayer team. It's very interactive, very tactile, and it's a very significant ministry from the regard of reaching people who are unable to physically attend church. So it's very, very powerful. And then to go back to where we started, my wife and I, we were ordained ministers, part of a church in Southeast Pennsylvania. We're there for several years and felt God wanted us to do something new, and we thought that meant to go plant churches in the physical world. So that's what we set out to do. Sold our home, sold most of our stuff, and we're going to hit the road and do that. And I'm giving you like 1 minute, 3 to 4 years in 1 minute. But we realized God doesn't want us to plant physical churches. He wants us to plant churches in the metaverse, in virtual reality. And so I know that term is new and it is a complex term, but I think we're still trying to figure out how to define the metaverse. But that's going to be what you're going to hear in the future. That's going to be a coined phrase. Things that you haven't heard before, it's going to be normal, like 10 years, or maybe longer than 10 years ago, when you Google something, when someone told me that for the first time, I was like, what does that even mean? Google something, you know what I mean? So these terms and these constructs arise from technology or from discovery. And so that's what's going to happen with virtual reality and this metaverse. And the metaverse does exist. It's starting to be recognized. These virtual cities that exist online, even something like Fortnite, 100 million players, if you even want to call them players, exist in this world. And then now they're only going to get more immersive with virtual reality. And to this day, one new thing that we've been saying from I don't know how to pronounce the word missiological, from a mission perspective, is that the metaverse is the most unreached people group in the world. Like as an evangelical or a Christian or a faith culture, however you want to describe yourself, we would, if there was a continent or a city on the planet that had no representation, we would have this energy to say, let's go to this continent, let's go to that country, we're sending missionaries, right? But there's this massive continent, so to speak, called the metaverse that is the most unreached people group, disregarded by the church. And it's things like virtual reality, Fortnite, all those things. And it's really important that we shift those little mental perspectives about the gospel, and that it only has to be a physical experience. Well, no, man, people are coming to Christ. People are experiencing renewal and spirituality through digital and virtual reality. And so I think it's going to take some time, but I think the church will eventually get there to realize the future of faith is virtual reality, digital ministry, all those things.
The future of faith. And I mean, you said that without blinking, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Via your avatar. You talked, you have a kind of like lecture series on reimagining church. Can you talk to us in this day and age when so many of us are just saying, okay, where do we go from here? Is it time now to open our churches after COVID? Or how do we move? Do we move into a more hybrid model? When the Lord really placed on your heart to reimagine church, I mean, how do you do that? How do you begin
Yeah.
to reimagine church?
Well, one thing is bringing back the spirit of experimentation and discovery. So I feel like, and I'm not trying to be critical. I love the local church. It's my, I'm very passionate about the gathering, the ecclesiology of it, and all of it. So I say that to come to the critical side is that the church has lost its experimental pioneering aspects. We've figured it out, and this is how we do it, and it's A, B, and C, and 1, 2, and 3, and we're not going to really alter this structure. Or if we were to alter it, that could affect giving or attendance. So those are kind of like superior to maybe where the Spirit's leading. So yes, we have a vision, we believe, from God to reimagine the church, not replicate it. So when we planted VR Church, we replicated it. It just made sense to us. We didn't know to do anything else. So we replicated one for one. All right, so this is how the church exists in the physical world, and now we're going to take it and have it exist exactly like this in the virtual reality. But this is a different construct. I mean, we are in the metaverse. I heard a quote that says that the possibilities are endless because we control time and space. And that's true. And when we really when we got that um, idea in our heads, we started to see the possibilities. Oh, church could be something reimagined. And that's not, that kind of scares people, like, doctrinally changing, the death, burial, and the resurrection. Now we're not talking about things like that. We're talking about the functions and the methods and the structures and the expression, which a lot of our methods and expressions and structures seem like they're gospel, but they're really just still a method or an expression. And so it's allowing yourself to have that experimental pioneering attitude, to toy with things, to do that in prayer, because I think people are afraid to touch the structure because it now has become gospel. And I think in one sense the pandemic has kind of smashed up against that structure and said, rethink everything. You can't gather physically. What are you going to do? Right. And so and by the way, that's not saying God, there's probably these unintended things where are you saying God brought the pandemic? No, that's what I'm saying at all.
Right.
But what are you going to do? You can't meet physically. So there's brilliant things happening. I saw a drive-through church happening. Churches are getting online that weren't before, and now we're getting thinking, and now we're getting creative. And as we come out of the pandemic, I hope we keep that spirit that's experimental and trying things out, because that stuff would have never happened. Before, but now I think you can see that happening in the church. But so allowing yourself to do that, allowing yourself to experiment, not outsourcing innovation. There is innovation in your body of believers, creative, innovative, pioneering people sitting in the pews. Man, activate them. Man, let's get crazy with this. Maybe create even an R&D budget for the church. Man, all these things out here have R&D except for the church, right? And so, man, carve out some budget and a people and a committee and, create a subsidiary. I don't know, do what you got to do to get this innovative flair going. And I think that's going to help you to begin to reimagine. So I think at the end of the day, when you look at reimagine, it's not 1, 2, 3, it's just some values. And the values are experimentation, innovation, audacity, the will and the boldness to try something new. And so, those are some thoughts about that.
And you're not, let me just say this, he's not speaking from what he thinks, he's speaking from what he does to try something new. So DJ, you started VR Church in alt space, which is a metaverse, but you have now expanded to so many others. So tell us everywhere that VR Church is located right now.
Right. And it's a beautiful thing when people look at VR Church and they look under the hood, they're really surprised. Their first reaction is, wait, what is this? Is this like a cute game? Are they just playing church? And we get that reaction a ton. But then when people look under and they see under the hood that there's just so much depth and organization and structure and expression and mission and vision, all those things. And so it surprises people. But I think that when they discover all that is involved in it, they're pleasant. They're just their mind is like, what is happening here? Because, we haven't just planted one virtual city or one metaverse. We're in multiple. So AltSpace VR is where we first planted. And that is owned by Microsoft. Microsoft purchased that, 2 or 3 years ago. There's another one called VR Chat. It's kind of the wild west of the metaverse, kind of like this untamed space that's amazing. If you've seen Ready Player One, it's just like that, but it's also a little bit wild. And so that's an opportunity. Like when I was talking about the greatest unreached people group. You think of something like VR chat. Rec Room is another one. Rec Room is a metaverse where we just planted a church. So we have these churches in these three different metaverses. And then Facebook has their Facebook Horizons coming out. That's going to be the VR platform for Facebook. And that's coming out this year, supposedly. We thought we'd already see it by now, but we haven't seen it yet. So yeah, that's kind of like, we're just kind of like, just keep moving, keep planning, keep pioneering. And it's been a wild ride. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun too.
Well, I think that this is amazing. I love where you are right now. We'll have to schedule a special Media Mondays. Look at me on the screen over there. This is cray. Where are you right now? What is this environment? And how can I get an avatar to do these shows every now and again? This is awesome.
Hey, hold on. I got my camera mixed up a little bit. Let me straighten up here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, and if I can go over here, yeah, I can teleport around the environment. But yeah, if you put your screen up, I can we can see where you're at. But basically, this is a VR platform called Spaces. So it's for conference calls, Zoom calls, all that type of stuff. Works really well. It's really cool. It's a great introduction to teach people about virtual reality and what it's like, and lifelike avatars. Avatars, tended at first to be very basic, kind of like a Nintendo Wii, if you ever play those type of characters. But they're evolving. I mean, this is pretty sophisticated now with skin tones, facial, mouth, kind of lip sync. And I've seen some crazy videos of like reading your facial expressions so that, as you blink, your avatar blinks, and, as the cheekbones will raise as you raise your cheekbones. And so there's going to be a point in time where this reality is going to be so incredibly immersive. Like I mentioned before, in 5 to 10 years, I can't imagine what this would be like. You can have an exact replica of your physical persona in virtual reality, and it would look the same. You would be speaking and blinking, and it's going to be pretty crazy to see where this technology goes. But yeah, this platform is really cool. It's a lot of fun.
It's really cool. I love it. And like you said, right now, you're actually in your VR headset. So you're not like on a screen, you're beyond the screen. You are in the actual environment, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I'm like looking out of these eyes all around. And yeah, so yeah, my headset's probably like, here's the front of it. Here's the side of it. I'm just kind of shaking it right now, but the headphone jack goes right about here. So it's put it over, and my body is now controlling this character right here. So I can let my hands go, and I have strings around my hands. So if you drop the control, so I just drop them, and now as I get control of them back, and I can even move my fingers. Yeah. So crazy tech. It's only just beginning. And so if you think of technology, like the first iPhone didn't work, sort of, and then now they're like supercomputers, it feels like. And this is like the first version of the iPhone. It's really compelling. Can you imagine, iPhone, the equivalent of like iPhone 10 or whatever we're on right now, iPhone 11, I guess. It's pretty wild.
So just in closing, because I know we just have a few more minutes, everybody is so blown away by this. My friend says I need to do this. How you doing, Samantha? Hey to my husband who's on the feed. Hello to Candace, everybody on the feed. DJ Soto's with us from VR Church. DJ, what would you recommend? I know we are kind of pioneering the way of sorts in this space. How can people get started?
Yeah, my recommendation is to get an Oculus Quest. Now, there's several you can check out, and don't be fooled by these VR that you see like at the airport or even at Best Buy. Sometimes you'll see a little rack that says VR, and it is kind of sorta. You put it in your phone. There's some apps, but it's not the ecosystem that like iPhone or an iOS would have. So in the similar vein, this is an Oculus Rift that I'm wearing, and anything by Oculus I recommend. And there's other ones. If you're hardcore technology enthusiast and you just want the best, I don't care what money costs. Check out the Valve Index. That's one you got to check out. The Valve Index, if you want to write that down. The Oculus Rift S, the one I'm currently wearing, is great. But the recommendation I love to make is the Oculus Quest. It's a standalone. It doesn't need a computer, no wires, no phone. It's an amazing system. So VR has been around for a couple years, 3 or 4 years, and the Oculus Quest came out last summer. And we feel like, in one sense, and I know this isn't completely accurate, but in one sense, VR started with the Oculus Quest. So check that out. It's an amazing device. It is pricey, $400 for the VR, but it's worth it for sure once you get into it. But if you don't want to spend like a $400, that might be too much. Or the Oculus Go is a great way to get started, just to kind of prime the pump. Where I think it's $150 you can get on Amazon. Oculus Go, it's a little underpowered. It's kind of it's not as powerful as, say, the Quest or the Rift, but it's still really good. And I think you'd really enjoy it. And usually people upgrade. So they try the Go for a while. And they're like, okay, this is interesting. Let me see the power of what's happening next in VR. And so, yeah.
Right. And just get involved, expose yourself more to talks like this. Look up immersive media. We talked about virtual reality today, but augmented reality too is coming, like how I'm wearing these glasses and capturing life through them. So we'll just have to do more, DJ. I tell you that all the time. And you definitely showed up and showed out today. I mean, you're in an avatar, man. I don't know how I feel about this. Like, next time I bring you on, I'm gonna have to be in avatar mode too.
Yeah. And I'm just switching environments just to show you the possibilities. So let me give you a little wide shot here. Let me step up to the podium here. And so what VR allows you to do is experience all types of environments. It is unlimited, like I was saying before. And so this is a keynote kind of environment here. And, I see you like in the background. If I go, let's see here, what's the camera that works, that shows, I think these are all kind of tight shots. Yeah. So anyways, here's a wide shot that kind of helps out with that. So, yeah, it's really cool and amazing. You can change your avatars, you can change your environments, and the use cases for VR is just, my dogs are going crazy in the background. You're just gonna have to excuse them. I think there's a dog death match going on behind me. But yeah, so yeah, it's really cool. It's amazing, and like I was saying, the use cases are unbelievable, and so yeah, it's awesome. It's great.
Listen, well, we know your dogs probably want you back right
Yep.
now. And so we don't want to hold you much longer, but everyone, the consensus is that this is amazing. DJ Soto from VR Church, man, you have shown us the possibilities, my friend. We are so excited about the future.
Yeah, I'm excited too, man. Like I said before, we're just getting started, so it's going to be a wild ride, and I hope and just invite everyone to join us.
Well, thank you so much, DJ, for I'm just coming on with us, sharing a little bit with us, and you'll definitely have to come back if that's cool with you.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, it'd be awesome. We just got to get our dogs in VR now, and then we'll be all good.
And then we'll be all good. All right, y'all know y'all can check him out at vrchurch.org, and we'll have more on immersive media this month. So make sure you follow along. DJ's waving bye from his avatar, and we'll see y'all next time. See ya.